Good morning, Boston. Woo! Hold on. Oh, all right. I did enough of that. Welcome, everybody, to Boston Concessions. I'm your host, Topher. We are an SSBN podcast brought to you by Small State Big Network. It's boys down in Rhode Island. I have not given them hype properly as an introduction. Maybe it's the morning, maybe it's other things that I've basically been looking at, but I'm awake this morning. Why? Well, technical difficulties, me oversleeping between yesterday and a couple of the things actually brought to fruition. However, as that goes, I'm here now, and I'm still going to be here. The weekend gave a couple extra things. I've been doing some things that have been a little off, but also promising. So, with you guys, if you don't mind, this is the only time I'm basically going to hype this. I just need to make sure like I'm getting everything that I have here right. So I do a Twitch channel with video games, everything, the whole works. You can actually find me there at twitch.com/angry_turnip_. Right now I am doing 30 days of streaming where I am raising money for Dana-Farber to kick cancer in the junk, is what I call it. I've basically been 6 years at this. This is year 6. I started it the butt end of when I first started streaming back in 2020. So here I am, 5 years later, 6 years later, still giving money to cancer, still benefiting charities, doing everything I'm doing. At some point, I will still be doing it. I will post a better link, but to anybody who's listening and you go in there, if you could drop $1, drop $2, drop $5, drop $20, I don't care. Any little bit helps. This is a personal thing with me. Cancer's basically been amuck in my family with a lot of other situations. And it hit both near and dear to my heart. Where I picked Dana-Farber because they do partner with the Jimmy Fund. They have done Jimmy Fund fundraisers. And when I did work for the Boston Red Sox with photography, one of the main key factors is that the Jimmy Fund was there. I donated in front of them. I basically gave back because it was the right thing. And I'll still do it throughout every aspect of what I do. You know, it's a sad part within what we go through, but nobody has to battle alone. Nobody also has to battle without hope or a team of experts that can help. So that's what this money does. It basically goes towards them. It helps them out. And that's basically why I do it. And to me, it makes me happy. So, with that being said, the other thing that basically makes me happy is, well, we had the Red Sox versus the Yankees this weekend. Everybody on hand. Why? Because it's a big thing. Did anybody really care about the Yankees? I mean, the Yankees. It's another New York team. It's called the Giants versus the Patriots. Did anybody care about that? Probably not. Why? It was preseason, it was warm-ups, it was backup players. Did the Giants win? Sure. Oh my god. Let's blow it out. When you know to the fact that games don't matter and it's just, hey, look at me throw the ball, look at me kick, yay! Nobody cares. It's like the scene in Jurassic Park. Dotson! We got Dotson here! See, nobody cares. So, nobody cared about that game. Why? Because, as it stated, the rivalry of rivalries. Okay? This goes deeper than Boston and Montreal. This goes deeper than, well, Hatfield and McCoy's. Why? It's the Yankees and the Red Sox. These guys have been battling out way before my time, way before probably your time. Maybe Grandpa knows about it. Maybe Grandpa Stevie knows about it. But this rivalry is probably one of the biggest things in sports. Why? I didn't create enough slides. But there's so much to it. Okay? Aaron Boone. Walk-off home run. Blow it out of proportion. Well, it was Yankees, Red Sox. Pedro Martinez throwing Don Zimmer. Again, Yankees, Red Sox. Hey, how about Alex Rodriguez throwing a punch at Jason Varitek and him throwing his glove in his face? You guessed it. Yankees, Red Sox. How about Johnny Damon Game 7? Grand Salami! That was pretty much putting it to the fact that these guys were going beyond to the World Series. Again, Yankees, Red Sox. And you can argue to the fact that this rivalry and series doesn't mean anything to anybody. It does. There are people out there that get hopefully excited because when you watch something like this, your eyes go away from your phone. You're more enticed to know everything that's going on. You're watching players because of how they interact. And there used to be things where, hell, Pedro Martinez, I mean, he loved playing the Yankees because it was his most competitiveness. And when he knew to the fact that he lost against the Yankees, well, the Yankees can call me my dad, like his daddy. Okay. And that went with him for like a long period of time until Pedro Martinez turned around and been like, oh, you thought it was serious? No, let me show you who daddy is. And granted, the Yankees winning 20 plus championships, brushing it in the face. Biggest team of the 90s. Derek Jeter, one of the coveted shortstops. Mariano Rivera, probably one of the best closers in baseball for a long period of time. Well, who else did you have? DC Sabathia, Alex Rodriguez. You know, you won championships. You made it apparent. You had Andy Pettitte. You had Roger Clemens. You had Paul O'Neill. Great guys in the 90s that are basically implemented with what it is. But you also took some Red Sox players from us. Wade Boggs. No, wait. Did Boggs play for the Yankees? Yeah, he did. Pretty sure he did. Either that or I'm having a brain fart this morning. Yeah, he did play for the Yankees. Thank God. 93 to 97. He won the 96 World Series. There we go. The part that confused me was the Tampa Bay Rays afterwards. Okay, so now that we've got the Wade Boggs situation flumped, what's the benefit of the series anyway where I'm mentioning people that run away? Jacoby Ellsbury? That was wonderful. Let me see, who else? Ooh, biggest one, Johnny Damon. He had to take the beard away. Okay? And I remember Fever Pitch where the girl yelled, Johnny Damon, you got the sweetest ass in the league. To when he joined the Yankees, it was like the worst ass in the league. Sourpuss as much? Absolutely. And I don't expect anything else because my counterpart from like somewhere in the Bronx or Queens or anywhere like that in New York that roots for the Yankees of any which way, shape, or form is probably sitting in his computer saying the same thing, getting everything ready with the rivalry thing like right above going, well, they took people from us. Happens. But let's diverse. The point of like everything was, there's a lot on the line. And this makes the rivalry so much sweeter. Right now, there's a fight for not only the wild card situation going on in the American League East, but you also have supremacy of second place in the AL East. What does that mean for the Blue Jays if they slump? Well, if they slump, you're going to have basically three teams that are jockeying for position because the race is so tight. And I know, we talked back in June. Did we ever think that the fact that the race was going to be this tight? I mean, it's tighter than letting a fart out during a math test when you know you can't make any noise. And you're clenched beyond belief. And no, this is not a poop show again. That was one time, even though we mentioned it a lot. It's okay. You can talk about poop. We're human. The word. Poop. But now that we're getting off to the shittiest subject in the world, let's get on to like the further aspect, because I've already cut you off like as much as possible. Okay? The glaring eyes basically go as it is. When you're getting into the Red Sox and the Yankees, especially this year, when you think about them in June, it was the Yankees running amok like crazy, and they were at the top of the AL East. The Blue Jays, second and third. Wait, that makes no sense, Topher. What are you talking about here? Oh, wait, the Rays were good at the beginning of the year. We forgot about that. Holy crap. Yes, the Rays were good. And then they weren't. Well, so what did that do? Well, it brought the fruition of the Yankees fell. They lost control of first place. Then the Blue Jays basically took it. And now it's been a sibling rivalry between the Yankees and the Red Sox to jock for position. But how did we get here, though? How did this come to pass? The Red Sox were fourth place. What happened? Well, it seems that a switch kind of kicked, and the Red Sox and the Rays kind of flipped. So the Rays, where they were doing really good, keeping up with the Yankees and also keeping the Blue Jays at bay, and going back and forth between them, well, they kind of went slumpy. And just went down, down, down. Now, granted, the Red Sox, especially in July, had a 4th of July resurgence of 10 games where they just blew everything up. They went on a tangent. They were scoring runs. They were making defensive plays. They were looking like another team that wasn't the Red Sox at the beginning of the season, that was possessed to take over where they needed to be. And they did. What did they do in its state? Well, the Red Sox went from 4th to 3rd to them pushing up the standings and making a mockery of everything, trying to get 2nd place. And in somewhere, the Yankees, especially after the trade deadline, started to falter and fall. With that happening, it reverted to the Red Sox taking over 2nd place. When somebody spoke about them last weekend, they stated to the fact they had to make or break with a lot of things that were going on with Baltimore, being the last place team. Well, they lost both games with Baltimore. They now have a 4-game set with Baltimore coming up after this Yankee fiasco. So, if you ask me, what's the benefit that you have to do going forward after playing 4 games against the Yankees, and now you're playing an American League East team for another 4 games? Well, you kind of got to go into it doing exactly what you did against the Yankees. Because where if you played the Orioles and you did really good on those 2 games, then you might have been ahead of the curve. So these 3 games you played against the Yankees would have put you a little bit more in the standings to have a sole control of 2nd place. That would have happened. Thank you, Alex Cora. To anybody who's new here, let me tell you something very, very simple. I don't like Alex Cora. I never have. He was decent as a player. He wasn't starter potential, but I don't like his attitude. I don't like his demeanor. I don't like how he talks to press. I don't like how he handles himself between... He's kind of got his nose up in the grindstone that he knows what he's doing when clearly he does not. And I'm not trying to be a couch GM in any which way, shape, or form. Nor am I trying to be a couch coach. That's a new one. Couch coach. I enjoy any aspect of the fact of baseball. I will talk about baseball for hours to anybody. I will actually enjoy watching a game, kicking back with a few suds, and just relaxing within what it is in order to just take in the national pastime. However, the one thing I don't condone in any sport whatsoever is cheating. So when I have a manager that's in front of me that is basically touting me to, all things aside, no, I don't believe in the fact of my manager. I don't believe in like him at all. He's a cheater, a liar. Basically, he's an embellisher. But what does he do? He keeps you in the dark, and he doesn't do it on the lines of Bill Belichick. He does it on the lines of Alex Cora, and he makes Alex Cora look like trash. That should tell you something, clearly. But Cora got through this weekend. He had an abundance of issues, okay, with the first and second game in Baltimore, but he got through this weekend, thank God. I posted on X, especially one of the things that made me happy was looking at the scores from the 21st to the 23rd. The Red Sox blew it out of proportion. They kept the Yankees to 4 runs. 4. Monumentally, 4 runs in any which way, shape, or form is a huge aspect, especially when you've got Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, and company, Paul Goldsmith. You got a powerhouse lineup. So when you're taking 3 games and you're barebacking the Yankees to 4 runs, you basically held down a masterpiece. And I'll tell you why. From Thursday to Saturday, it was, for the Yankees, 3 runs, no runs, 1 run. To the Red Sox, showing exactly who they are, where they stand, and they may not have a powerhouse team. They may not have a full identity of who they are. But they can show you that when you look at the 4 runs, out of those games, you're looking at 19 runs from the Red Sox. All in all 4 games, 11 runs from the Yankees. 11. The Red Sox, 26. That's almost double the capacity of what you basically go off of. So, did the Red Sox have an explosive weekend? Yes. They completed the 4-game series, and they won the first 3. The Yankees avoided the sweep by taking the final game. Okay? It's perfect, considering now you've got to watch for, like I said, the after effect, which the Red Sox will play Baltimore on Monday, being today. And then, of course, the Yankees will then take on the Nationals at Yankee Stadium on Monday as well. Okay? The key aspects to these games, the Red Sox were rallying their first win of the series with Roman Anthony's performance, his Yankee debut. Okay? He drove in 3 runs. He had an RBI single in the 6th inning to tie the game at 3. He hit his 5th career home run in the 9th inning, a 2-run shot off Yerry De Los Santos. put the Red Sox ahead 6-3, and the home run followed an error by Paul Goldschmidt. Perfect. Let's also talk about Nathaniel Lau, how he's contributing to the team. His go-ahead double in the hitting the RBI in the 7th inning off Luke Weaver. Perfect. That's 4-3. That's where you actually get the 2-run shot from Roman Anthony. Then Ceddanne Rafaela scored Boston's first run in the 2nd inning on a throwing error by Ben Rice. You're putting these young kids and you're taking everything and running with it. And you're putting up great moments. Lucas Giolito allowing 3 runs and 4 1/3. 5 Red Sox relievers combined for 5 1/3 scoreless inning. Where was this bullpen play 2 games ago? Where was it the previous game? That's what you want to know. We'll get into that in a minute, because 2 key factors are going to be like the conversation about this, and it's basically going to run into a lot. When you go into the 2nd game, though, it was tight. Tight. It was a pitcher's duel beyond compare. And when I mean beyond compare, you got to give it to Trent Grisham, who... What do they put for notes? Oh, he gave up the hit to Trent Grisham. But this was... Sorry, I mixed up everything. So, Brian Bellows' dominance was exactly as it is. Stellar outing, 7 innings, 3 hits, scoreless ball, painting like... He basically was painting everything like he was Picasso. And the biggest thing I could take, like, that's off my notes, Brian Bayo got a lot of slack from guys on Fox, MLB, but also biggest things that he got from Yankee fans. There was a 3-pitch strike, 3 pitches on Aaron Judge. And because Fox, or whoever the heck was allocating the game, had a strike zone, and they always have your basic box. Here's the 4-parter, that's it. Here's the part that they forget about. Size difference, especially Aaron Judge. Very big boy. His strike zone is massive. So when you're pitching outside that specific zone, you have to remember the strike zone is not just those 4 corners, but it's presentated to the batter. So when you're seeing pitches go all over the place, but you also see them a centimeter or 2.5 centimeters out of the space of where they should be, and they're called a strike. Again, 2 factors. 1, home plate umpire. He can't be precise and perfect. He's not going to paint the corner and call it a strike or a ball, just as the pitcher is. It's just happening. Secondly, batter size. From Jose Altuve all the way to Aaron Judge. And again, Judge is a big boy. Never doing that again. But yes, Aaron Judge being a bigger, stockier player, his strike zone is going to be completely different. But does Fox or anybody adjust that strike zone when they have a bigger player? No, they don't. You ever notice sometimes when they've got the box and it's over a person's elbow or below the person's knee? There's a reason for that. They don't adjust the box per player. They just have it there as a guide. And people think it's biblical. It's Bible. It's not. Just a box to give you an idea that there's a strike zone here that you really have to look at. So when you're looking at said strike zone, there's going to be the reason. But Brian Bello came out, dominated, and made sure of where it was and why it was there. Holding down that I'm not scoring a run. Okay. Not only am I not scoring a run, I'm not having it happen, so I'm holding the fort with my pitching. But who else am I going to give credit to? Max Fried. Fried. Okay, when the man goes 6 innings, only 4 hits, 7 Ks, and doesn't allow a run. When Mark Lederer Jr. comes in and lets up that run and blows it out, you got to give it to Max Fried. He pitched a hell of a game. He dominated within him. Williams and Bednar coming in like on that game and protecting the lead. Protecting the remainder of it to just the 1 run is huge. But when you look at the other side of the ball, you've got Bello coming in, pitching 7 innings. You got Garrett Whitlock closing everybody down. 2 out of the 3 batters he faced, strikeouts. See you later. And then you've got the best of the best, the former Yankee man himself, Aroldis Chapman, coming in and saying, no, sorry, my blood's red now, it ain't blue. And also striking down 2 guys to call the game. That's a picture-perfect aspect because the Yankees only had 3 hits. 3 hits to the Red Sox 6. That to me is fitting. Everything that went on. And the worst part, I'm looking at my notes. The game-winning hit, the lone run of the game, 7th inning, Connor Wong. Who? Yeah. Connor Wong. We've talked about Connor Wong basically not being an RBI guy. Not having an RBI for like multiple months on end. Not being able to like have a proper hit. Not carrying himself to like even have a stake in the team anymore. But Connor Wong scored Nathaniel Lau, who doubled earlier in the inning. Doesn't sound right. Especially when you're talking about, like I said, this is Connor Wong. And Connor Wong and RBI do not go in the same sentence of what we've talked about for Red Sox baseball. Hasn't happened. But as it goes, Garrett Whitlock struck out Giancarlo Stanton, ended in the 8th. Aroldis Chapman closed out the game, 25th save, striking out 2 in the 9th. 1-0, basically called it dead. And game 3 was probably the biggest go-to that a lot of Red Sox fans were even looking for. Why? Well, you're getting probably young guy Will Warren. Don't know much about him. Yeah. He's 26. He was probably a fill-in. It really sucks. But, wait a minute. Will Warren pitched 4 innings. Who did he face? That's right, too. Game 3 was a sale day. No, not a sale day. Let's not confuse it. No. Both of them came from the White Sox. Both of them have a remarkable way of explaining their days. Okay. There was a Sale day, which was Chris Sale when he was here. I loved Chris Sale. Still do. Great player, phenomenal dude, everything between it. But now we've got Crochet Day. Why? Because it's time to crochet, baby. And yes, Garrett Crochet went in, dominated. How? Shutting down the Yankees over 7 innings, 1 run, sat down 11. And what does this do for him this year? I believe it's Taruk Skarbel and him. I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. I'm really butchering it for whatever it is. But both of them are in the running, flying out the door, making claims beyond belief for the American League Cy Young. And Tariq, for what he is, has been a dominant pitcher for the Tigers. And the Tigers are showing their brand for it. But Garrett Crochet is also coming out here with a lot of want and woes, but basically taking something that's been beaten, battered, tired, drawn out, gone over multiple times within the bullpen, within his pitching staff, having everything switched around and like everything to where it is. This guy has been your monumental ace. He has been everything as advertised. And I know when people sat there and said, oh, well, he's coming off injury, he's coming off this, he's going to be doing this. But this is implementing him for why, A, he got that contract signed. B, it's another team, or quite frankly, a Red Sox front office that took another pitcher from the White Sox and granted him everything under the sun that is going to make him extremely acceptable in all walks of form. And it's already proven that. He's going down that path. He is making everything where he needs to be. And Garrett Crochet has been an absolutely perfect pitcher. Yes, he's had some flaws. But that's where you're going with it. But in this game, it wasn't just Crochet. It was the offensive outburst. The Red Sox scored 5 runs throughout the game. I'll actually tell you as I look at it. They scored 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. 6, 7, 8, they went completely quiet. But then they basically demolished the ball in a 7-run 9th. Yeah. Offensive outburst? I'd say the 9th inning was basically, hey, we want to shut this game down, leave it to where it is, and leave them in marred dust. Here we go. Bang. Key hits, RBI single by Jarren Duran. RBI single by Nathaniel Lau. Who's this guy? Oh yeah, that's that guy that they got from Washington that was batting 1-something because he wasn't having a good time. If anybody wants to look at the Washington Nationals, I think I said, because we did a later show, and it was on the eve of when he was signed, we talked about it. But the Nationals right now are 53-77. Their win percentage for the year is .408. Only team in the National League that has worse than them is the Colorado Rockies. Only team worse than them for the in the American League is the Chicago White Sox. You know what that screams? You're basically the third worst team in baseball right now. Are you going to want to be anywhere on that team where there's arguing? I swear, I'm okay. I'm not used to being awake or anything in the morning, so we'll try this again. Can you be on a team where a lot of things are going not your way? You're hitting, not the same. Your coaches being stressed out because they're basically tarnished, tired. No. Are you getting the best baseball you can? No. Are you now coming to a team that is young, like-mind driven, and wanting to be the best of what they can, and have you take your postseason talents of hitting home runs to a place where if you do hit the postseason, is it going to make a difference in your bat? Yeah. Do I get a little concerned though? Yes, because any person who's switching teams, they get really excited, they get overjoyous. Oh, wait. Where can I use an example of that? Oh, right. Abraham Toro had a wonderful first month under the Red Sox tutelage and then got completely comfortable and batted like in the 160, 170s. And he wasn't hitting the cover off the ball. He was barely touching it. So what does that scream? It screams a little bit of like work and everything that goes along with. So how does this also go into everything? Well, when you have a throwing error by the Yankees, a balk allowed to run that allows a run to score, Carlos Navarez tapping off the scoring in the ninth with a 2-run home run. David Hamilton, Navarez himself, Trevor Story, each had 3 hits in the game. So when you take everything and you go 17 hits, that's huge. Huge. So with this game also, this also marked Trevor Story hitting a home run, which would be his 20th of the year. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later because Trevor Story is now a 2020 hitter. 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. Been a while in a Red Sox uniform, but we'll go into that like a little later because I'm going to cover a couple players of how I feel about a lot of this stuff. So, to elaborate also on Crochet's performance, Crochet threw 103 pitches, 72 landing for strikes, 11 strikeouts, his 6th time he's reached double-digit strikeouts this year, generated 31 called or swinging strikes. During the game, Crochet went 200 strikeouts for the season, the first Boston pitcher since Eduardo Rodriguez in 19 to do so. He exceeded 500 career strikeouts, reaching the milestone faster than any other pitcher since Clayton Kershaw. Can you state to the fact that Garrett Crochet's a really big deal right now? And you're really happy he's your ace? I can understand. So he allowed only the 1 run, a solo home run to Giancarlo Stanton. The Red Sox came back, answered with a home run. The 200th strikeout of the season in the 3rd inning was against Aaron Judge. After one of his final strikeouts, Crochet walked off the mound laughing at the Yankees' inability to hit him. Yes, he had a smile. He was laughing. This is the part I'll say, and I've heard this multiple times. Um, our friend Joe Murray has said it. There's a lot of other people that have basically said it. Anywhere within it, when you watch this team, there's reasons to watch this team. It may not be for a win, it may not be for a loss, but the joy of the game is sitting within those men on the diamond. There's just something about these players that make this game go everything into play that makes you just want to go, holy cow, I'm here for it. Sorry, itchy ear. So if you had to say to somebody, hey, I want to go see a Red Sox game, do you think right now they're going to be excited? Because I'll tell you, from June to now, it's a totally different book. If you asked me, hey, you want to go to a Red Sox game? Probably early June, I would have said no. If you asked me to go to a Red Sox game now, I still have to watch Alex Cora, so I might say no. But the enticing piece of wanting to watch this team goes more and more. When I watch highlights, when I put together stats, when I'm putting everything together now in a different level than what I did before, what's the one thing I look at? A lot of this stuff that is completely broken down, it's exciting. Connor Wong getting that hit. You haven't heard from Connor Wong at all. And then he makes the hit he does. It puts everything on a notice. When you have Trevor Story hitting the 2020 club. Great. Let me tell you about some people. Cedane Rafaela, Weiler Abreu, Roman Anthony. I know he's injured for the remainder of the year, but Marcelo Meyer, Brian Bello, who I love watching pitch, Garrett Crochet. He's not one of the young guys, but I'll tell you, he's been dominant and always on my radar to watch. Aroldis Chapman. These are guys that, well, they ring a heavy bell. And when they ring a heavy bell, there's so much to see into that. Which is where I'll go with this. One of the highlights that I want to talk about right now, besides the Red Sox Yankees, which like I said, it was beyond what my expectation is the young aspect of Roman Anthony. Okay? He's played 62 games. He started 57. He was a little bit worrisome when he first started, but right now his batting average is 279. His on-base percentage is 395. Slugging, 437. He's got 5 home runs. 5th as of the Yankee series. 27 RBIs, 42 runs scored, 18 doubles, 1 triple, 4 stolen bases, 38 walks, 71 strikeouts. For a rookie, that's not bad. Considering, I forget the stat, but there was one. Let me see if I can find it. Roman Anthony, Juan Soto, and Okay, there it is. So, Roman Anthony has been on base 102 times in his first 59 games of age 21 years or younger. 102. The other person that he tied that stat with is Albert Pujols, who had 102 times on base in his first 59 games at age 21 or younger. The only person to have one extra was Juan Soto at 103 his first 59 games at age 21 or younger. So, let me mark this as I look at it. Albert Pujols, considered one of the greatest players of all time and 3-time MVP. What does that say? Well, it's poo. You know, and I'm not talking about the poo. Okay? Albert Pujols, poo, also had it within him where he was a former Rookie of the Year and World Series winner who had over 700 home runs. Poo. To introduce to Juan Soto, who won a World Series with the Nationals and a batting title in 2020, who was a 5-time Silver Slugger Award winner and known for his exceptional plate discipline, who also just signed a monumental deal with the New York Mets. Where does this leave Roman Anthony? Well, Alex Cora compared him to a young Juan Soto. But then again, I mean, Alex Cora would probably, compare bath salt to regular salt. Gross. So, where does this also put Roman Anthony in my eyes? It puts himself on a short list with Hall of Famers at a young age, where here's two of the greatest. One was a previous, one is a current, and one is a future. Past, present, future. Right there. One big stat that solidifies two guys that are making this guy look like a stud. His stats are, and the girls that watch the Red Sox games, they know what he is. He's Roman Anthony. He's got the Roman schnoz, for crying out loud. But is that good? Yes, it is. Because here's the highlights and notable moments. He debuted on June 9th. He recorded his first RBI via a groundout. He then changed his uniform number from 48 to 19. So now you know how that 19 got on there. He recorded his first MLB hit, a 2 RBI double on June 10th against Ryan Papoit of the Tampa Bay Rays. He had his first career home run on the 16th against the Seattle Mariners. He then, on August 6th, signed an 8-year, $130 million contract extension with the Red Sox, which could reach $230 million due to escalators. Now, what does this mean? Hit stats, get paid. Why do that? If you've got somebody that's locked in like Albert Pujols, Juan Soto, and is basically going to be your future, soon to be talked about like David Ortiz, yeah, you're locking him up. And I would. See, getting off the topic for 1 second, here's where a lot of people feel that where Craig Breslow sucks, they don't see a monumental aspect that I see. See, with Breslow, Mookie would still be here. Mookie would have a signed contract. Mookie would still be running center field. Or moving to second base, like he did for the Dodgers. Breslow, I don't think, would have pitched off Mookie Betts. I think he would have valued him just like they're valuing Roman Anthony, just like they're valuing Kristen Campbell, just like they're valuing Marcelo Meyer, just like they're valuing Garrett Crochet. Now, what does this mean for everybody around them? It means the fact that, if you look at previous Red Sox players, if they have a deep dive like this, yes, there's all the more so where keeping Mookie Betts would have probably been on Breslow's radar, and I think he would have been treated 30 times better than what he probably got offered when he was traded to the Dodgers. That's in my hindsight. But with Roman Anthony, his rookie campaign in 2025 has been marked by a strong on-base percentage, a mature approach at the plate, an ability to hit for power, including memorable home runs, and he's already inked the contract extension. It takes the organization's faith in his potential. He's adapted and improved his hitting against left-handers mid-season, further highlights his potential for future successes. He's currently projected to have his rookie status intact throughout the remainder of the 2025 season, which basically means this kid is going to run rampant over everything around you. That's what you want. So if anybody wants to point fingers upon what's going on here, yeah, I'm going to look at Roman Anthony. He's a young kid who, when he was downstairs, well, the first 2 months you needed to make sure. Now that they're sure, especially with the monster friggin' Salombo that he hit, yeah, you can't keep a kid like that down there. But let's look at other guys besides Breslow. Chaim Bloom would have kept him down there just to marinate him. Ben Cherington would have probably pitched him off for peanuts. Dave Dombrowski would have given him up for somebody who's over the hill. And it's hard to draw a thought on what Theo would have did with him. Because there's something about what he probably would have done. I think he would have got him up here at some point, but I think he would have stayed the remainder of the year downstairs. Came up in September, got a lock for what it was, and probably hit the ground running with the following year. I think what Breslow's doing with them this year, where it was make sure your mind's sharp, get the cobwebs out at the beginning of the year, get called up, and be a monumental team player, which is what you're doing, is above and beyond everything that you want more. I just wish to the fact that there was more depth to that than these two. And why do I bring this up? Well, the Red Sox, on their fourth game against the Yankees, they lost 7-2. Dustin May went 4.1 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 base on balls, 3 Ks. Great. Brennan Bernardino came in and he at least made short work of that. 1.1 innings, lets everything comfortable. 2 Ks, no hits, no earned runs, bullpen holding their own, just in case the Red Sox catch up. Well, you can't really do that when you've got Walker Buehler coming in with 2.1 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, 2 Ks. So what is this screen for Tweedledee and Tweedledum over here? Both came from LA. Both now sport a Red Sox uniform. One is sucking more than the other. But they're both sucking. It's a failure to what I'm seeing against anything that I want to see. Why? Because Walker Buehler, $20-something million signing. I could find him in aisle 9 at Family Dollar or Dollar Tree or whatever dollar store that you have out there in your neck of the woods. Okay, use dollar books, use dollar something. I probably would like throw a bargaining piece to where like, hey, listen, I've got 75 cents, take it or leave it. It's a disappointment. And I was one of the ones that was extremely excited. Walker Buehler winning a World Series, coming over to Boston because he wanted to be here. He was psyched. Someone was signing me. Yay! 1 year, 20 million. 1 year, 20 million. 1 year, use toilet paper. He's 2-ply. Very fragile, very agile, and not something I want to say. And my notes were as follows. Okay? As of August 25th, Dustin May, Walker Buehler joined the Red Sox for the 2025 season. May, acquired in the trade deadline. A lot of fans didn't like it. Some fans were okay with it because of what you reached. A lot of people wanted the different pitcher. I can't blame them. But can't fault the other side. Can't fault our guy. Buehler, who was with the Dodgers for 7 seasons. First season with the Red Sox. And it's kind of crap. So where do you go with it? May's time with the Red Sox has been characterized by some struggles, particularly where he gave up multiple home runs. He's shown flashes of brilliance, a scoreless start against Houston. He's just got that issue where he goes a little bit deeper into games, and it goes from very serious comedian to carrot top. Personal way of how I look at it. You basically have someone along the lines of George Carlin, going really serious for a little bit, and then somewhere in your act, you kind of veer off and become Carrot Top, where you're okay in the start of his career, and then you get the plastic surgery, you look horrible, your face looks like Drop Dead Fred when he gets splattered in between the refrigerator door. You can't fault the guy. But it's not like he's not trying. You know? He lasted at least 5 innings, only twice in the last 6 starts. That's basically where his inconsistency lies. It's not something that we want to see. But these are things that you can work on to get consistent. The question is, can he? In some ways, yes, he has the sparkle, the gleam, the glimmer in his eye that he can do it. But we're not seeing it, which is my problem. Walker Buehler's a different story. He's been inconsistent all season. Where is he now? The bullpen. He struggled with his command. He's got a career-high walk rate and a high WHIP. The whip. The whip. He has demonstrated the ability to limit runs in some outings. His overall performance as a starter hasn't been what the Sox hoped for. He needs a reset. Go to the bullpen. Settle down. Get your mind at ease. Focus on what you need to do. Right now, you're completely off the beaten path. You're off the rails. And it was threatened all year to the fact that you had to get something right, and you still haven't. Demotion works. So, what are the plans for the Red Sox for Buehler in the bullpen? Flexibility. Cora indicated that they haven't determined a precise usage for Buehler yet. They'll figure it out as they go, using him for one inning, multiple innings, or other situations, but he remains stretched out for multi-inning duty, could also be used for shorter stints. Brian Bayo gets lit up for 2 innings, like 7 runs. Instead of burning through five guys, you know to the fact that the game's over, you put Buehler in. Let him screw up. That's the bonus of it. The best case scenario, Buehler's high 90 fastball could play up in shorter, higher intensity relief stints, helping him regain confidence, becoming a contributor to the Sox late in the season, possibly into the playoffs. Translation in certain ways, when I looked at this, you've got a fastball that you can control, but you're off your rocker. So what do you got to do? You got to get on your rocker. And if you can get on your rocker, make everything solid, and pitch again like you were, and when you were a World Series champion, to earn that $20 million, then yes, you'll be looking at monumental success. But until then, where your drop rate is completely crap, you're not controlling the ball as you need to, and you're basically giving it to them where they're just going to hit the crap out of it and make you look like a bitch, dude, you got to work on it. It's not hard. Which goes into the aspect of focus on health and reset. Alex Cora emphasized, of course it's meant to him, the importance of being smart with Buehler's usage to keep him healthy, especially since it's the first time transitioning to a bullpen role. Buehler sees it as an opportunity to reset. That's job one. If the player sees it, then it's a positive. But it's only if he uses the time wisely. It's kind of like, hey, I just did something stupid in high school, got detention, and instead of going into detention, picking my nose, flopping somebody's wedgie, and making fart sounds all over the place, did I focus my time properly with the time I was when I was there? Yes. Class A student. So, when you take the issues that basically got him when he was starting, and if you can nip those in the bud, give him a proper transition from when being a starter to in the bullpen to going off and doing everything that you need to, it's a huge monumental reset that needs to be comforting in his eyes. And that's a huge, huge step. And here's a side note I put. He made his first relief appearance since 2018. Red Sox are in the process of defining his exact role and how they will best utilize him in the bullpen going forward. So, what do you have out of these two guys? You don't even have a can of beans. You basically took two of the Dodgers' quote unquote pitchers, and where you should have had success in something, you've kind of had the crap in everything. That's not positivity. That's a lot of poo. To me, when I look at Walker Buehler and I look at, Dustin May I have a little bit more higher regard for. I know the fact that he can be better than this. He's shown that he can be better than this. Somewhere between last year to this year, and then getting traded to the Sox, there's no proper alignment that is going on in his head. Once you find proper connection, then not Walker Buehler, get out of here. Then Dustin May could potentially be an overall great pickup and presence. What is the benefit of Dustin May? He's 27. So if you get him back on track, if you get him where he needs to be, the difference between Buehler, and May is $18 million. I'm not kidding. Dustin May right now, his salary is $2.135 million. That's not bad. Compared if you look at Walker Buehler right now. He's 31. He should have a little bit more of a kick going forward where you can have that proper adjustment. Trying to find where his salary is. You look up something, you have it in front of you, and it's like, Yep. So he signed the 1-year contract with Boston for $21.05 million. Here's the beauty part of that. $21 million, and it had incentives. If you really think to the fact that this dude is getting any incentives whatsoever, you're insane. You're taking the happy pills. You're going off the beaten path and thinking to the fact that, hey! Both of these guys need to do better. And yes, I could talk to... Let me put it this way. The reason why I talk about these guys more so than the other schmucks that have basically failed the bullpen, failed the starting rotation, and otherwise, is because I don't see any type of future with those idiots. Walker Buehler's already made his stake for being a top-tier pitcher at times. But he's also monumental with securing to the fact of what he can do and especially being a success. Dustin May is 27 years old. He's already proven to the fact that he's got some pretty good stats from previous years of being on the Dodgers. Looking at this really quickly, his ERA 3.6 in 2019, 2.57 in 2020, 2.74 in 21, 4.5 in 22. He had a bad year. 2.63 in 23. So he's battling a 4 point something in 25. I believe he was also injured in 24 because it doesn't look like, yeah, he didn't pitch. So he was 5th in the Rookie of the Year candidacy in 2020. You're 5th in voting for Rookie of the Year at 22 years of age. Potential? Yes. 4-year difference between them? Yes. Is Walker Buehler going to even be able to turn it around? Who the hell knows? Can Dustin May? Yeah. Anybody saying he is not worth the time, the effort, and otherwise, you don't watch baseball. In short, Walker Buehler, is he the bust from the West? Yeah, sure. Okay, why? Because we have a larger sample size coming from him all year that he has not been a part of it. Maybe it's coaching, maybe it's the surrounding, maybe it's something to the fact that doesn't make him feel comfortable. But bottom line is Walker Buehler has not adjusted right in a Red Sox uniform. Dustin May? What? He's 1-3, 4.5 ERA, 20 innings pitched. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. The question is, can he do it? And that time will tell. I'd rather, if I had a betting stake, and I'm a betting man, which I'm not, but if I did, my money would probably point to Dustin May because I have a little bit more strong opinion that he is at some point going to buckle down, get with the program, do what needs to be done, focus on himself, and make things better as he grows. Walker Buehler, kind of like he understands it. It's like, hey, I know the program, know what you guys are saying. Ooh, look, shiny. You know, it's like any which way, you know, hey, I'm pitching really good, squirrel! By the way, that squirrel found the password the other night. Yeah. Squirrel was a winner. I wanted somewhere where I was actually going to implement him. We'd be like, yeah, look at that squirrel, baby. Woo! Squirrel man. What a way to interrupt the game. Squirrel. But lastly, to talk about this and bring it to like a proper revenue. Because I know I just talked about Dustin May and also I talked about Walker Buehler. It's basically a negative aspect, and I'm talking really good about Roman Anthony. And also how the Red Sox did really, really good. Let me... That is not what I want. Let me bring you to this guy here. The soaking man of soaking men. Trevor Story is having probably a comeback year that a lot of people would basically talk about. I'm going to ESPN this. Trevor Story is having probably one of the most monumental years that anybody would actually have. Okay? His comeback season for the Red Sox in 25 highlight the achievement of the 2020 club with his 20th home run and 22 stolen bases. And what does that say about the other years that Trevor Story has basically walked into? Well, last year being plagued by injuries, and then the year before not performing to like a higher regard of the Boston Red Sox, especially after signing his contract, there's a lot of things that basically went into play with how Trevor Story was being. Especially when it comes down to not only the fans, but people in primarily also in the clubhouse and in upper management. Trevor Story has been one of those guys that everybody complains about, but they don't see the potential that's actually there. He had a monumental career with the Colorado Rockies until actually battling some injuries and plaguing with a couple things where he decided to walk away. Upon signing with the Boston Red Sox, he was monumental with the fact of, hey, I'm going to make a big difference here. Kind of went to a little bit of Dudville, especially getting injured where he didn't really help the team a lot last year and kind of fell flat. This year, we're seeing a different type of Trevor Story. We're seeing a healthy, lively Trevor Story that wants to fuel and facilitate everything going on with the Boston Red Sox. Not only being a phenomenal teammate, but also being a worthwhile veteran that is actually manning shortstop like an absolute champion. And give that as it is, he's actually given Xander Bogaerts a run for his money over on the opposite side of the land where he went on to the San Diego Padres. So yes, Trevor Story was supposed to be that guy who's playing second base and also was going to be a little bit of concern, heaven forbid, if Xander Bogaerts did walk away, which he did. And in question, it did put the Red Sox at a little bit of a disadvantage last year with the injury and everything plagued. But Trevor Story has basically come in and probably knocked the socks off a lot of people and left a lot of people talking when they talk bad about Trevor Story. There's now 15 to 20 people in a bar, a library, or somewhere that will have you. They'll state, dude, don't talk about Trevor Story that badly. He's actually performing amazingly. And you can see it. And I will state this, and I'll tag him in it. Matt McCarthy has probably been one of the most monumental people, including our own guys at SSBN, that have basically taken the Trevor Story piece to heart. Why? Because Trevor Story is doing everything that you want him to do in a baseball player. He had a bad year. He's not focused on it. He's focused on this year. He's focused on being healthy. He's focused on being where he needs to be and being there for his teammates. What does that actually do for everybody around him? It fuels the fire of what Trevor Story is doing. I can't even tell you the last time he had... Oh, actually, I can. So he officially joined the 2020 club for the first time since 2021. I put it in the notes. So the 2020 season basically shows the fact of 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. Trevor Story doing that. He's healthy. He's performing at a high level. He's showing renewed power and speed. He's a candidate for American League Comeback Player of the Year and is doing everything he can to be monumental for this Red Sox team to fight for the wild card spot and actually hold their ground for second place. He played in 163 games in his first 3 seasons with the Red Sox. He's played 126 this year. Renewed health, renewed endurance, basically keeping Trevor Story intact on the diamond is a huge, huge feat. The 2020 season marks a personal milestone. He is only one of 3 Red Sox shortstops to ever achieve the 2020 season. Nomar Garciaparra and John Valentin were the other 2. Those 2 are basically locked in Red Sox lore. Trevor Story is making his name known especially for that. Story's performance is a significant factor in the Red Sox current push for an American League wildcard spot. He emphasized that the team's success is what matters most, and the Red Sox have a lot to work in a pennant race. He is 32 years old, and he's looking for basically any which way to get back to that postseason glory. You can't, under any circumstances, look at anything bad about what Trevor Story has basically done this year. He's played 127 games. His batting average is .260. It's not horrible, but it's not bad either. Okay, it's basically where you want to. It's a 73rd out of the whole rank among qualified players. 20 home runs, 82 RBIs, 22 stolen bases. His on-base percentage is .307. Slugging percentage, .427. 489 at-bats with 127 hits. He's got 147 strikeouts, but he's got 22 doubles, 127 hits. He's basically a catalyst for everything around him. Why do I actually put it, especially with the picture I have there, is because Red Sox fans kind of need to get over themselves, because you know when they're actually pink hats and when they're serious. Here's a monumental piece when they're serious. Trevor Story is a game changer. And we all knew that. From signing his lucrative deal to like where he is now, there was 2 things that were basically going to happen. Trevor Story was either going to be a monumental success or a monumental dud. The first 3 seasons was basically that. The monumental dud. The injuries, the plague seasons, just the inability to actually contribute to his teammates probably did a lot for his confidence and also kicked him kind of in the gamgees. But when you flip the coin and you go into another prowess and you look at Trevor Story now, this is the Trevor Story that people were hoping for. So let's get past the injuries. Let's look at everything combined to where it's going. If you're taking 1 year of Trevor Story and doing everything he's doing this year, that's a win. And I'm not talking like Daisuke Matsuzaka. I'm not talking about like JD Drew. I'm not talking about Steven Drew. There's differences with that. Trevor Story has had basically wondrous career with the Colorado Rockies. And he's having a hard time with the Red Sox because of injuries and otherwise. But to come back and actually do what he's doing now is a little bit more strength than, say, JD Drew, Daisuke. Because he's putting a mark where those guys didn't. He's putting the mark where his teammates are first, the team is first, and he's showing all sorts of signs of nothing but up, and he won't take no for an answer. Anybody, anywhere, bar, restaurant, hell, even the library, if they talk bad about Trevor Story, ask them why. If they mention the injuries prior and, like, you know, him batting suckily over the first 3 years, well, what is he doing now? Their answer will either shock you. It's either they don't watch the games or they're too stupid to understand. Some of those guys are couch GMs, where this is the reason why I brought up Matt McCarthy. where a lot of people have always stated trade the guy, cut your ties, go away from him, and basically give off no aspects and get somebody else in there in order to handle shortstop, second base, etc. People still forget to the fact that this is Trevor's Story. This is as good as Trevor's Story can be, if not better. This is what we all wanted when we signed Trevor's Story. Did we know it was going to be a project? Yes. Did we have high hopes, especially diehard Red Sox fans? Did we have high hopes that he was going to come in and be the 30 home run guy? The monumental 25 plus? The high 280s average that like he was in the Rockies? No. He was plagued by a couple things. He was brought in here to basically give himself a little bit of change. Change has come. And the story is Trevor's Story. He can hit the ball. He can do everything. And he can make your teammates great. That's my ESPN moment. And yeah, I'll tip my cap to Trevor's Story. Why would I? Because I was one of the ones that believed in him. I was one of the guys that, like, if we had Rafael Devers and Xander Bogaerts and Trevor Story at second, third, and short, if Trevor Story was doing this during the other years, that's a defensive prowess infield I would never want to play. Of course, the third baseman was very lacking with that. But now you've got Trevor Story that's showing exactly what he can do and how he can do it and why he was so monumental on a Colorado Rockies team. I can even look up his stats. Where if I looked at other positions from when he played with the Rockies, which he was 23 years old in 2016. He was fourth in Rookie of the Year. He made the All-Star game twice. He was in the MVP voting twice. 30 times, I'm sorry. And if I look at his batting average from when he was 25, 291, 294, 289. And then it was 251, 238, 203, 255. Right now he's 260. But if I look at his home runs, from 23 on, 27, 24, 37 in 2018, 35 in 19. He played 59 games in 2020. He still hit 11. 2021, he hit 24. He had under 100 games in 22, which was 16. He had 3, 2, and now he's at 20. So basically, he's going backwards to where he's reverting to form when he was younger. Who doesn't want this Trevor Story on their team? I want him here. I want him here because I know he's going to be successful. He's already showing it. He's doing what he needs to. That, to me, yeah. That's everything you want it to be, and that's everything you want it to show. I want that Trevor Story. I want the success of that Trevor Story. Trevor, I know you'll never see this. Keep fighting, keep showing it, and keep blowing up the stats. Because the 2020 club is just short. There's more for you. And in that note, Red Sox play tonight, man. I said it last They got wiped. So here's the idea for Alex Cora to go up his rear end. You're probably going to blow about 2 of these games. It'll happen. But you know something? If you don't blow the games, if you actually look like a pro, if you do everything right, and you can actually coach like a person should coach, you should be in the winning column with no problem. The one aspect I get is, for some strange reason, you look at the smaller guys now as they're not monumental and you can blow a game or 2. You're in a wild card race, you idiot. Take these for what they are. Take the games. Yeah, drop 1, pop 4. 5-game road trip, if anything, like, you know, or just 5 games in general. And yeah, 3 games over 2 games? Yes. 10-game streak. You go 5-5, okay. Hope the other team does. But you got the Blue Jays and you've got the Yankees. The Yankees right now are probably playing, as people have stated, the the bitchiest schedule in the planet. Now, here's the aspect with the Orioles. They are 10.5 games behind you. If they win all 4, they are now 6.5 games behind you. The Yankees are playing Washington, which, where did I state they were? 3rd worst team in the league. If the Yankees can't get their butts together and beat the 3rd worst team in the league, then I'm hoping to the fact they sit in 3rd. Other thing to look forward to, which, I mean, it's going to be tough to do, but the Rays are 6.5 games behind us. You lose 4 against the Orioles, and the Rays win. That means that they're 2.5 games behind you. All comes down to what you're looking at. And if I even look at the Blue Jays have a 3-game set, which the Marlins luckily took 1 game out of the 3. They're playing the Twins 3 games. They're playing the Brewers 3 games. 3 games against the Reds. Here's the biggest one you have to watch. September 5th, 6th, and 7th. The Yankees will play the Blue Jays. If you win at the same aspect as the Yankees win, the Yankees gain no ground, but you gain the ground on the Blue Jays. The Yankees can probably handle the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have a monumental and very, very up-and-coming lineup where it'll fuel their fire. Their pitching staff has kind of been on the fence a little bit. Where if they can't get it done, yes, their offense comes in and blows them out of the water. That's the key point. Know your opponent's weaknesses. The Blue Jays have a deep weakness with their front 5 and also their bullpen. So the Red Sox playing the Blue Jays, this should be a walk in the park. You have more to offer and more grit than the Blue Jays. You just showed your grit against the Yankees. You now have to show the grit against the Blue Jays. But that will not be until the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of September. That's how they close it out. Say everything is where it is and we're at the 23rd. You have a 7-game streak that you go on, and one of them is a complete sweep of the Blue Jays. That puts you 2 games behind them. Now, if they lose 2 against the Rays and you win, now you're tied. That's the easiest way to look at that. This race in the American League East can be changed a snap of the fingers. I mean, look at the Rays. They started the year powerhouses. Look at the Yankees. First in the AL East for a couple months. The Blue Jays went on a tear. The Red Sox went on a tear. The Blue Jays and the Red Sox, well, the Red Sox a little bit, but the Blue Jays in some way, shape, or form have not taken their foot off the gas because they're in first place and they want to be there. Is it going to be hard to hold it? Yeah. Why? The way the Red Sox are playing. Not only the way the Red Sox are playing, but throw it down to it, the way the Yankees are playing. Both of the teams have what it takes to take over first place. Pitching, hitting, style, finesse. 4 elements. All it takes. Not going to do the 4 letters, 1 word. Ooh. I have faith in the Red Sox that they're going to make the postseason. They just got to play like it. So far, they've been playing like they want it. Let's see if they still want it. But with that, I've done my morning bit. It's been about an hour and 30 minutes. This will be on Spotify. Listen later if you need to. I want to thank everybody for actually tuning in if they did. Whether you've got me on the whether you're rewatching the YouTube, whether you're listening to Spotify, or wherever the heck you actually find your podcasts, etc. It's always a great moment. So, like always, let me know what you think. Feel free of any which way, shape, or form to use the speak pipe. You can find us at Boston Concessions. Leave a lovely note. Please do not leave a burp. I believe after last week, somebody decided to leave a burp, and it was... Oh. You can... I still know to the fact that you can tell when you got a troll. When the person listens, they still do what they're doing, thinking, oh, let me show you how cool I am. Burp, 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 burp. Like an infant burping an infant's infant. Like raising canes, actually. Not even raising a cane. I think it raised a C. But that's neither here nor there. From all of us here, which is just me, this has been Boston Concessions. I'm your host, Topher. We are the really, really fun Boston Sportscast. You just got to give us a listen, and hopefully you'll like me. I don't know. I'm my worst critic, so I can't really tell you, but yeah, I like the feedback either which way. Hopefully you've enjoyed what you listened to, and we'll be back for more. Hopefully the Red Sox do well. We will find you in the middle of part of the week where we actually go over a little bit more of football. Coming up on Thursday, where we cover a couple of the games that'll be starting. Football. Happy Monday, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.